Today's roundtable is really around shifting that trajectory that we find ourselves in. Our aim is to surface real-world barriers facing MSMEs, and of course, more importantly, to co-create actionable solutions.
So today's discussions are going to be around 2 or 3 critical questions. The first is, how do we make regional trade work for SMEs? The second is, what does meaningful value chain participation look like for small businesses? And the last is, how do we ensure that policies, trade protocols, and investment flows translate into actual opportunities on the ground for SMEs?
So I want to say this, that trade, unfortunately, as we discussed it, is a game of scale. And it being a game of scale, one of the massive constraints to the advance of MSMEs is this question of how do you compete with those who do have scale?
Why are we talking about MSMEs? When an economy has grown to a particular level, the contribution of MSMEs to GDP stands at a particular level. For Southern Africa, the contribution by the MSMEs to GDP is significantly low compared to the norms that are painted globally. So the enterprise pipeline exists, but it's neither inclusive nor expansive enough.
I do want to ask you, where are the blockages, the constraints, maybe the missing gaps?
I think Africa's problem is a public relations problem. We are not riskier than any other continent. There is a particular way of doing business in Africa, and if you don't understand it, don't call it risky. You just need to understand it. We need to start demonstrating that.
The micro entities, those under 10 employees or even just one person, also need a different package of support.
There was the protocol on women and youth in trade that was adopted in 2023. Practically, what does that support to women and youth-led businesses looks like?
The women are not getting the capital that they're required to kickstart. The infrastructure to ensure that women are catered for at the borders. Those are the kind of policy changes and that kind of protocol points that needs to be taken into consideration.
Collaboration is a nice word, but centralization is the key word. We can all collaborate, but trade has to be centralized.
One thing we've come across is information access. Information to what opportunities there are and how they can access them is a big part of our work.
A lot of the corporates that do sponsor, or even the service providers, it's become a numbers game. So it's become a BEE compliance, it's become that.
So I'm the one who will receive the applications from different businesses for funding. What I'm seeing on my desk a lot, or the inquiries that are coming through, is that in as much as we have developed a lot of policy, I've seen a decline in the entrepreneurial spirit.
We think we can turn somebody into an entrepreneur in 3 months, and we expect that person to have the resilience to stay in the process.
How do we encourage young people?
You have a lot of young people in micro, small, medium enterprise that have succeeded. But I don't think we are profiling them enough for them to signal to the youth that is doable. I can also be that. We are profiling our soccer stars very well, but we are not profiling our entrepreneurs very well to signal to the young generation that it's doable for them to also aspire to be that.
I think we've now come to the end of what I would consider a very successful engagement, a very successful roundtable, a very diverse group of speakers, whether it's, policy players, entrepreneurs, actual practitioners, business service, support service, government agencies. It's been really wonderful to hear everyone's insights and perspectives. Thank you to all of you for honoring this invitation and for making this a very meaningful and inspiring engagement.